All right, how's it going, everyone? First off, I'm going to apologize a little bit. I was going to record a video yesterday, daily uploads, but the build is where we are today, what I'm going to share with you guys today, would not be here if I made a video yesterday. Pretty much what happened, if you want to catch up, watch the last two videos. I'm going on my league start build soul searching journey, and basically started off trying Stormbrand. And then I tried Stormburst with a Stormburst totems on a Hierophant, mana stacking, that type of thing. And then from there, I think it was Friday night. Yeah, it's Sunday right now. Friday night, I started talking with my friend who's really into mana stacking, and he's really into self-cast mana stacking. He didn't really give me any ideas, but it got me thinking, why don't I combine the previous ideas of what I had been doing? Primarily, the first time I was trying also Ball Lightning of Static, and I wanted to combine that with self-cast and the mana stacking. And so yesterday, I woke up at, I want to say 10 a.m. or so, and I went to bed at 7 a.m. So I was up, and there's maybe like 2 to 3 hours of yesterday that I didn't work on the build. I basically just spent the entire day opening up POB, brainstorming, trying all sorts of things. I opened up POB and just started working on it. The big thing that I wanted to do was combine Indigon with Archmage support. And these two things, the gem and the unique helmet, they both make you do more damage with higher mana cost. They don't work together. The short story is they don't work together, but I wish I knew that 6 hours earlier yesterday. 6, maybe even 8 hours earlier yesterday. I really wanted to make them work. Basically, the more mana that you spend with, just spend in general, the mana cost of your spell will go up with the Indigon, and up to 2,000% increased spell damage as you keep casting more, spending more mana. And then Archmage, as you spend more mana, will also get added lightning damage to the spell the more that you cast it. And I wanted to combine both of those. The problem is Indigon is uncapped scaling in terms of the mana cost. It does cap the spell damage that you get. So the upside is capped, but the downside is uncapped. It's already kind of on a knife's edge to get value out of Indigon in the first place. And then with Archmage support, it scales that up in a very difficult way. Then I wanted to combine all that with Arcane Cloak, which is a mana skill. It's a mana guard skill that makes you take damage against your mana first, as well as get added damage based on the mana that you spent. And it'll spend a ton of mana. So you can kind of use Arcane Cloak to take a chunk of mana away, immediately juice that Indigon value, as well as juice the Archmage value. Theoretically, it hits some hilarious damage numbers. Like, we're talking low investment. I was hitting 30, 40 million DPS. The problem is it costs 16,000 mana per cast at that point to even hit that. And so I was trying all of these tricks with reduced mana cost and trying to get it so I could cast more. And I hit this really hard wall, and I spent hours working on it. And I actually reached out to a couple of people, kind of brainstorming, and they didn't give me any specific ideas, but we were kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And then what I ended up doing is entirely ditching the Indigon. Like, the Indigon is just too hard to make work, and kind of going for some more fundamental mana stacking type stuff. And I'm really happy to share with you guys what I have. And we'll put some footage now on the screen of what I have. This is a Ball Lightning self-cast Archmage Hierophant. And I, Ball Lightning on Travis Mine's totems, that's the thing that a lot of people are looking at. Much to my chagrin, when I started the stream today, I was like, guys, I'm so happy. I tried to come up with something as original as I could. It's not going to be 100% original, but, I wanted to do this thing on my own. And yeah, I didn't look at anything yesterday on PoE Ninja. And then the first thing that I saw is like, a lot of people are like, this looks like a Captain Lance build. And I was like, no, I'm not doing Babala. I'm not doing core skating. And I'm not doing, Travis Mine's totems. And they're like, well, he was talking about self-cast. So, if anything, great minds think alike a little bit. But at the end of the day, I do think I'm doing some things here that are, anything in this realm is like, nothing's 100% original, right? But I do think I'm doing some things here, trying to make it more efficient, that are, kind of nice and a little bit novel here. So yeah, what this is a Ball Lightning of Static, very specifically of Static. And the thing is, we got to watch out for that getting nerfed. A lot of people are looking at it right now. I don't think it's going to get nerfed. It wasn't very popular this league. People knew about it, but it wasn't very popular. Basically because Penance Brand was outshining it. It is a cooldown based skill that you cast it. It has a set duration. You cannot alter it. You can increase the AoE, but it doesn't affect the damage or anything like regular ball lightning. It just makes it a larger AoE that can hit more enemies on the screen. And then it will shoot out a lightning bolt that hits some enemies, and it'll shoot, I believe, 14 times, it says on the wiki. It has a very set duration. You can't change any of that. It has a set amount of casts that it will do. And the really nice thing about using this, particularly with Archmage and mana stacking and Arcane Cloak, is we can snapshot our damage. By doing Arcane Cloak, it'll give us all of our bonus damage. Our Archmage will get all of the bonus. And then we can put down our Ball Lightnings on the ground ASAP. That damage will be snapshotted from the Arcane Cloak, and then those will do damage for a couple of seconds after you place them. The other nice thing about that is it will do damage without having to cast additional times. Normal spells will get the damage by casting, 5, 10, 15 times a second. 15 is kind of an exaggeration, but, most spells, you're going to be trying to cast a lot, use Spell Echo, Unleash, anything like that. With this, it is a cooldown-based skill. It has a base cooldown amount, and you can only use it a few times. Think of it as very, very similar, like a cooldown trap. Something like Seismic Trap, where you have certain uses, you put it down, it does its damage. So the nice thing here is we snapshot with Arcane Cloak, we put our Ball Lightnings down, and a really cool thing that I'm doing is I'm actually using Temporal Rift, and this was an idea that my friend gave me, is Temporal Rift will send you back in time. It's exactly like Tracer or Echo in League of Legends or Overwatch, where it'll send you back in time a few seconds earlier, and it'll fully reset your life, energy shield, and mana to the values that it was at. So as you're walking towards a pack of monsters, you pop your Arcane Cloak, you can drop your 3 Ball Lightnings, and then you hit Temporal Rift. Not only will you back up, so you're out of danger, but your Ball Lightnings will be up in front of you doing damage, and you'll get back all of your life and energy shield. And in fact, you can even do Vol RF before this. So Arcane Cloak, Vol RF, you spend your energy shield and your life, and then you rewind it with Temporal Rift, and you have all of your damage bonuses, and you get back all of your resources. And this has a 3-second cooldown that you can use basically all the time. And the really nice thing here is Temporal Rift, even without the whole mechanics of trying to snapshot, if my life ever gets low, I just tap Temporal Rift and I go back in time, I get out of danger, and my energy shield goes back to max, assuming that, I was managing it properly. It really gives you that feel of playing Echo or specifically Tracer. However, the base mechanic that we're really relying on, let's go over a little bit. I don't want to go into too much detail. Also, I'm not 100% sure that this is definitely going to be my League Start build. On the stream tomorrow, what I'm going to do is try to strip this back. At my current investment, I'm probably at like 20, 30 divines, which is, well beyond League Start budget. I find it very useful to kind of scale it up a little bit, make sure it's something you want to spend 20, 30 divines on in the first place, and then scale it back and see, hey, is this playable at a lower budget? So what we're doing here is we're using the Ivory Tower. The big thing that Ivory Tower gives us is it enables low life through pain attunement. It's in the same category as Chervon's Wrappings. The idea is that you have some sort of mitigation against chaos damage as you reserve all of your life, and then you invest your defense into Energy Shield. And the reason why it really only works with these body armors is chaos damage by default bypasses Energy Shield. So if you reserve all of your life and you're just using ES, 1 point of chaos damage will just kill you. However, if you use Chervon's Wrappings, just chaos damage hits your Energy Shield, that's fine. Ivory Tower is really, really unique. It was added in Metamorph League, and it says plus 30 to max Energy Shield per 100 reserved life. So if you have a pretty big life pool, you can actually get a large amount of additional maximum Energy Shield as you reserve all of that life. It also gives you plus 100 max mana and plus 70 intelligence, which is very useful for giving yourself more mana if you're a mana stacker. And then the important thing here is it says chaos damage is taken from mana before life. And because we are mana stacking with a very large mana pool, this will mitigate the damage that we take from chaos instead of bypassing and hitting our life right away. You may see someone like Captain Lance, who's a big fan of coruscating elixir and doing Balbala on a timeless jewel. That's an alternate way that you can do low life with an Ivory Tower without being a mana stacker. That's kind of like a clever use of game mechanics. What I'm doing here with the Ivory Tower is more the intended use of it. So you're supposed to stack mana and reserve all of your life, and then chaos damage is just going to go against your mana. In combination with that, I'm using an Aziri's Foible, and then I am also using a Mind Spiral. And these are kind of your go-to big mana pool, mana recovery rate things. On my weapon, my rings, my shield, you basically just roll for intelligence, mana, and energy shield on all of your gear to the best of your ability, and you're kind of off to the races. We do run Grace here for our defense, but besides that, you don't really do the traditional defensive layers with a build like this. Because we are mana stacking, we don't reserve any of our mana. We are using Eternal Blessing, just have one big strong aura that doesn't reserve any of our mana. And then all of our other stuff is reserved against our life. And yeah, it's overall a pretty simple setup. Like I said, we snapshot damage, drop our ball lightning. This is a crit setup. You start off going Elemental Overload, doing non-crit, but very quickly you do want to go into crit. Through the Conviction of Power node on the Hierophant, we actually start with 4 power charges right off the bat, and then 4 endurance charges, which is really nice for res and physical mitigation. Then we go for the 3 power charge nodes around the outside of the passive tree. This gives us 7 total power charges, and we're just power charge stacking right off the bat. We can kind of transition into crit by the time we hit level 75 or 80. And that's pretty nice in terms of early league start, kind of transitioning into a higher damage echelon. That combined with the fact that Ball Lightning of Static doesn't require any cast speed scaling. It has a set number of casts. This allows us to focus entirely onto just pure damage, pure crit, and just overall, a solid build without having to stretch as widely as we would have to with a normal self-cast skill, which is pretty cool. I'm also looking at a lot of alternate uniques, a lot of more budget league start friendly stuff in case the Ivory Tower specifically, Ivory Tower and Etziri's Foible, if those do become, very popular, if I make a popular guide, and everyone wants to do that, I'm always taking those things into consideration. I've been doing this for over 3 years now. I feel like I'm pretty well attuned to the stuff that people look out for beginner-friendly league starter. With that said, I'm not looking at this to be S tier. I don't think this is going to be an S tier, detonate dead, ignite elementalist. However, I do think this will be a very nicely scaling league starter in that you only have to get a couple uniques. I'm only wearing 3 uniques right now, and 2 of them are really common. None of them has been particularly expensive. Ivory Tower this league was already hyped up, and it didn't even hit 100 chaos. It capped out at about 90 chaos this league. So nothing is particularly expensive, and the gear right now is not particularly desired. Mana stacking is not that popular. Definitely a thing that if it gets too popular can be a little bit annoying. However, there's a lot of very accessible, cheap uniques that you can use. There's a bunch of staffs that you can use. You can use a Crown of the Inward Eye from Cirrus instead of Mind Spiral, although Mind Spiral is a 1 elk unique. It's a freebie. It's a throwaway. Etziri's Foible, instead of that, you can use, before you go crit, you can go Voices of the Storm. After going crit, or even before that, you can go for an Astramentus. You can just do pure attribute stacking. And then that way, you can enable a lot of other things. For example, you can go into Shaper's Touch. If you get more attributes, you do Astramentus. Really nice, more defensively oriented. A lot of rambling. There's a lot of details that I could do here, but I just kind of want to get you guys a little hyped up. Feel a little relief from me. It's now been 4 days of me pretty much every waking hour trying different stuff and experimenting. And I really want to show you guys how intense this process kind of is. I'm recording right, it is 10:30 p.m. right now. For the past 72 hours, I've been thinking of this stuff nonstop and trying stuff. And yeah, just bring you guys along for the journey. All the stuff that I'm thinking about, give you guys a good opportunity to raise any concerns. I like being as transparent as possible. I've always been incredibly transparent on Twitch. Like, all of this is always on Twitch. Yesterday I just went into a hole. I didn't stream yesterday, but in general, almost everything is always done on Twitch. All of the receipts are there, and you can watch the process as it happens. And you can see on the screen right now, this is all the stuff that's going on. This is all stuff that I'm nonstop experimenting and trying all sorts of things. However, it's really rewarding, especially, just seeing you guys having a great league start and coming in the chat on Twitch and just saying, hey, thanks for the league start. It was a good time and I had fun. And that's my goal, is just help you guys have fun. At the end of the day, I do think most people are just kind of looking for the most fun, at the end of all of this. That's it for me today. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, sorry about no video yesterday. But yeah, I went in the build hole, and I think I have something. Not 100% yet. We have to see how this feels, level 70, level 80 with no gear. And, there's probably a transition and some options that we have to play around with. It's really fun. I'm really, really excited. I hope this ends up being really good. I actually see myself having a lot of fun writing a build guide for it. But I'm going to go take a shower. I kind of need to do that. I'm going to go take a shower and get to bed and then come back fresh tomorrow. And hopefully really start that league start process. Thank you all for, again, man, the support and all of you guys, the subscriptions and everything. It's been pretty wild. When league start gets going, everyone gets really, really excited. It's always so encouraging when I see you guys commenting and just, everyone's getting hyped up. It's the best part. It's why we do this, right? But yeah, that's it for me. It's shower time, man. All right, see ya. Bye.